Hello, everybody. This is the March Madness broadcast. I'm glad it's finally here. And sorry about that. But I'm glad the brackets are out. And that means I will tell you who to choose in your bracket and who to avoid. Like, for example, in my bracket, I chose UConn going to the Sweet 16, but losing to Auburn. Auburn is underseeded, and I think they could make a possibly a deep run into the tournament. But like the top seeds in that tournament or in that region in the East bracket, it goes UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, Auburn, San Diego State, BYU, Wazoo, Florida Atlantic, Northwestern, Drake at 10th, which Drake I think could maybe make a Cinderella run as a 10 seed. I got them beating Wazoo in the first round, and then they would upset Iowa State and then lose to Illinois in the Sweet 16. But I do have Illinois going to the Final Four, believe it or not. I mean, as a Mizzou fan, I kind of like Illinois, to be honest. I don't like Kansas, though. Anybody but Kansas. But after that, in that bracket and all those, like the number 11 seed Duquesne, which I think Duquesne maybe could upset BYU, but BYU is BYU had a very impressive year, and college hoops start. This is like at its peak. It's like March Madness, crazy stuff's about to happen in the East region. I don't see UAB doing anything. Yale could maybe upset Auburn or at least give them a scare. I don't think Morehead State's beating Illinois. And then, who does Iowa State play again? I forgot their names. It'll come to my head soon, but I forgot who it was. But UConn plays Stetson, which obviously I don't think they stand a chance. But in that region, I have UConn beating Stetson. I have FAU beating Northwestern. I have San Diego State beating UAB. I got Auburn beating Yale. I got BYU edging out Duquesne. I got Illinois beating Morehead State. I got Drake upsetting Wazoo. And I got Iowa State with an upset. Or not an upset, but I don't know who they play, but still. And then after that, in the in the West region, we got North Carolina. They'll be playing Wagner or Howard. I think they'll win that game, but then they play the winner of Mississippi State and Michigan State. I got Michigan winning that, and I also have, let's see, a 5 versus 12. I would see who is in that region. Let's see. Arizona's the 2 seed. Baylor's number 3. I could maybe pull up a bracket, but I'm just doing this by memory. Oh, Alabama's number 4. And let's see. College of Charleston's in that region too, but I got Bama going to the Sweet 16. Or actually, I got them going to the Elite 8 because I got them beating College of Charleston and then winning in the second round. So I think I got an upset pick in that one. But, yeah, I think I got an upset pick in that one. But I got them beating Michigan State, who upsets North Carolina. But then I do have Clemson losing to New Mexico in the first round. New Mexico would beat Baylor, and Arizona would beat New Mexico, which Arizona would beat Long Beach State and Nevada and New Mexico, and then eventually would beat Alabama en route to its first Final Four since 2001. And in another region I have, which is, I believe, the South region, which is for Houston. And I got Houston winning it all, actually. I got them beating whoever they're playing in the first round. I don't remember who, but it'll come to my head soon. I got Nebraska beating Texas A&M. I got James Madison upsetting Wisconsin, Duke beating Vermont. I got Texas Tech barely beating NC State. I got Kentucky beating Oakland. I got who's the 7-10 game in that region? I don't know. I forgot, but I got Marquette beating. Oh, it was Colorado and Florida. That's right. I got Colorado upsetting Florida in that one, and then I got Marquette beating. I got Marquette beating Western Kentucky. But in that region, I definitely do see Marquette losing in the Sweet 16 to Kentucky, but that will be a very high-scoring game. Which Kentucky, though, their tournament experience. They got a lot of experience. They got Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham as top prospects for the 2024 NBA draft. I could definitely see Kentucky maybe doing something, maybe make it to a deep run, but I don't know for sure. I'm not confident. But with Kentucky's offense and how they're playing, I think that's fine. But if they play against another hot offense, I think they might be screwed. All right, on to the Midwest region. Purdue leads that, and I think this is the most interesting one. Purdue would play the winner of Montana State and who was I going to say? It's Montana State or it's Montana State and I don't know who. But then we got Utah State in that region. It'll be Utah State against TCU, which I think Utah State's going to win. And then this is the game that I've been wanting to pay attention to the most, 100%. And I believe it's going to be Gonzaga and McNeese State, with Gonzaga winning just barely, a tiny bit against McNeese. It'll be such a good game on Thursday, but I'll be very excited for that one. And then another one, Kansas-Sanford. That's another upset pick. No hatred bias, but I do think Sanford could upset Kansas. Kansas has looked horrible as of lately. And then the 6-11 game in that region, I believe it's Oregon. I got Oregon upsetting. I definitely have Oregon pulling off the upset against South Carolina, which in 2017 it's crazy because if they beat Gonzaga and North Carolina, I guarantee that would have been the national championship in 2017. Now they play each other in the first round this year. I got Creighton winning in the first round, of course. And then I have Tennessee going to the Sweet 16. They beat St. Peter's. No Cinderella run from them this time. But in that Elite Eight, I have Tennessee going to the second round. No, I got them going to the Sweet 16, losing to Creighton. I got Creighton against Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. And then I have Purdue losing to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, which Gonzaga, they've had kind of a down year. In February, they were on the bubble, but then they won 8 straight games, and they won at St. Mary's. Oh, speaking of St. Mary's, that was the game in the West region that I wanted to talk to you about. St. Mary's against Grand Canyon. I thought that was going to be a really close game too, but I think they'd probably lose to Alabama, unfortunately for them. But I would love to see St. Mary's or Gonzaga make a run, but with Gonzaga, their season they've played worse as of late, but I mean, McNeese State is definitely probably going to ruin my bracket, if possible. And Gonzaga hasn't lost in the first round in a long time. They made it Sweet 16 for like let's see. A history of Gonzaga basketball, though, which Gonzaga, they lost in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 last year as a 3 seed. They beat teams like Grand Canyon. They beat teams like TCU, barely beat UCLA, and get demolished by UConn, who eventually ended up winning the national title anyway. But then in 2022, they were the number 1 overall seed. They got through Georgia State, barely got through Memphis, they had a terrible first half. I was watching that game in Vegas. But now I have them losing, or I think Gonzaga's losing in the Elite Eight because every single year I always put Gonzaga in the Final Four. I don't think it's going to happen this year, which I think that they're definitely on upset watch. I'd like to see McNeese do something, though, but another history part, Gonzaga would have been the first undefeated team since 1977, but they ended up laying an egg against Baylor in the national championship. They would have been a 1 seed in 2020, and they lost in the Elite Eight in 2019, lost in the Sweet 16 as a 4 seed to Florida State in 2018, went to the national championship, lost as a number 1 seed in 2017, went to the Sweet 16 as an 11 seed in 2016, lost in the Elite Eight as a 2 seed in 2015 to Duke, and in 2014 they lost to I don't know, but Gonzaga basketball, I wouldn't say they're spoiled, but I know they always make the tournament. I mean, this is their 26th year in a row that they've made it, and Mark Few has definitely changed that program for the better. Was there any technical difficulties here? I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever accidentally paused it, but okay, anyway, I do have Creighton maybe going to the Final Four. I could see them maybe go a little bit deeper, but if they had a defense, they could be dangerous. But that Tennessee Creighton Sweet 16 game could potentially be a pretty good one at that. But March Madness is one of the best time of years, which it's fun seeing upsets, and I love seeing the tournament unfold and see who ends up winning it all. And there hasn't been a national champion that repeated since Florida in 06-07, which I know that because on April 2nd, 2007, Florida won against Ohio State. And the funny thing is, that was the exact day I was born. And maybe that's the reason why I like March Madness so much, you know? So, I believe UConn could maybe go to the Sweet 16. I got them as a championship pick too, but I think Auburn is probably going to upset them because they're underseeded and they just won the SEC. And I think this conference is going to be something crazy. This is going to be wild, lots of picks. I could see maybe James Madison or McNeese, but also don't pick Iowa State to go deep. Don't pick Wisconsin to go deep. San Diego State's the second-round exit. KU's a second-round exit at least, or at most. Or they could maybe make a run of the Sweet 16 if they got to play McNeese. But I think McNeese could upset Kansas if they get through Gonzaga. But then at the same time, I love to see somebody. I'd like to see a major upset. I'd like to see teams go to the Final Four. And, like whenever March Madness is rolling around, my birthday's coming up. And that's a pretty fun thing. And I'd love to see plenty of stuff happen. But then towards the end, I believe Houston is going to take that in Phoenix, Arizona in the Final Four once it's there. And, I got Arizona going to the Natty because I got my Final Four. It'll be Illinois, Arizona, Houston, and Creighton, with Houston beating Arizona. But I think that might be just about it. And I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. I'm sorry, I might have cut out some intricate details because of something that happened. But I just want to say thank you and goodbye.